Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Nurturing a Love of Learning at Home. Before we begin, please note the following. This webinar will be recorded, and the recording will be made available on NUS Alumni Relations website from September. NUS Alumni Relations and its event partners may use some, or all of these images, or videos in their publications, digital platforms, and/or marketing channels. To minimize distractions, please keep your audio muted, and use the chat panel to post any questions you may have. Your questions may be grouped with other similar questions to be answered during the Q&A. If you require technical assistance, please send the administrator a private chat message. This morning, we are pleased to have Fynn, founder of Happy Tot Shelf, a hugely popular educational website and Instagram that shares many fun, hands-on, playful learning activities for young children. Fynn graduated from NUS as a chemical engineer, taught math and science in a secondary school, and is a mother of 3. She is also the author of a children activity book, The Happy Learning Book for Siblings. Through Happy Tot Shelf, Fynn wants to help parents raise happy learners at home, and her easy, low-prep learning ideas are very popular among young parents. Happy Tot Shelf has amassed over 350,000 followers across various social media platforms, and her posts and videos have been viewed and liked by millions. Without further ado, please join me to welcome Fynn.
Hi everyone, I am Fynn. Thank you so much for the introduction and thank you for having me here, NUS Alumni team. And I am super excited to be here today to share about a topic that I am very passionate about, and that is how to nurture a love of learning in your children. Now this is really the goal and the mission of whatever and all that I do over at Happy Tot Shelf. Now, when we hear this word learning, what comes to your mind immediately? I am guessing probably you might be thinking schools, or maybe teachers, or students, books, worksheets, or maybe even exams, right? We mostly associate learning with schools, but I want to ask, do you think that school is the only place that learning takes place? All right, so yeah, I can see some response in the chat box. Yeah, so definitely not, right? So for me, and I truly and I firmly believe that learning actually begins at home, even before your children, of school age, before they attend school, or even if they go to school. A lot of the learning and a lot of the foundation for learning is actually laid at home, and the home is actually where where we lay this foundation for our children's attitude and children's ability, and more importantly, their attitude towards learning. And if you think about it, especially for children, very young children, where do they spend most of their time? They will be spending most of their time at home with you, the main caregiver. And where do they acquire their first experiences? Likely at home as well. Once they are born infant, they are already very aware of their surrounding. They are already absorbing things from the environment, and they are learning from the minute that they are born. And studies have already shown, lots of brain studies have shown that 90% of the brain growth of children happens before kindergarten, 90%. So we are talking about for children by 3 years old, 80% of their brain is already they have grown to around 80% of the adult size for their brain, and by age 5 or age 6, they are nearly full grown. So lots and lots of brain development, very important brain development, happens before before the age of 6. I mean, not saying that after age of 6 it's not important anymore. Lots of things are still going on after the age of 6, but before the age of 6, lots of brain development are happening, and that is why the experiences that we provide for our children at home, their daily experiences, the environment that we create for them at home has a huge impact on their learning, on their development, especially in the early years. So this is why I am so interested. I'm so passionate about this topic of helping parents do more to nurture their children's love of learning, and not just when we think about learning, we do not want to just think that teachers are the one that they can do, they are the one who's responsible, but really parents can do so much more to help our children, especially in their early years. And throughout, even throughout their when they are teenagers, or in their primary school, secondary school, parents play a huge role. And the interesting thing is that when we talk about nurturing a love of learning in children, I must say that we actually do not need to try too hard. We probably, after what I've said about how a lot of the brain development happens before 6 years old, and maybe some of you be thinking, oh my goodness, so much pressure, what do I do? But the thing is that you really don't have to do a lot of things at parents, because children, when they are born, they're already born with this very, very strong desire to learn. If you look at a baby when they are born, once they open their eyes, they are looking around, they're sensing things, and then if they see anything nearby, they will try to grab it, they will try to touch it, and then try to understand, try to explore things around them. And then when they become mobile, when all of you who have mobile toddlers at home, you will know they will go around and touch everything, and they are so curious to want to know how everything in their world works. And then by the time they start talking, they'll be asking you so many questions, right? Every day you are bombarded with questions, 100 questions from your children. So you can tell that they already love to learn. So the more important question is, right, how do we preserve this love of learning that they are already born in? How do we encourage it further? How do we fan the flame? All right, how do we fan the flame and keep that fire burning stronger and stronger? And especially when they go into primary schools and secondary schools, when academic, when subjects become very academic and more challenging, how do we keep this love of learning, okay, this fire in them burning stronger, and that such that they will continue to love learning? And that is this is really what I am helping parents do over at Happy Thought Shelf. And today, for today's workshop, I want to share 5 simple ways that you can do right away, actually, to spark your children's love of learning, and to nurture their curiosity. And they are really, really simple things to do. So let's start with tip number 1. Now, tip number 1 is to read to your children daily. Yeah, just read to your children daily. If you have time, all right, if you only have time, I know all of you are very busy. If you only have time to do just one thing with your children, read to them. Because books, they are amazing. Books open up, new worlds for your children. They will see people, they will see animals, they will see countries beyond their experiences, and then it gets them very curious about whatever that they see inside the books. And lots of studies about reading with children have been conducted, and they have shown that it not only reading not only encourages early language and literacy skills. Reading also helps to encourage their curiosity, and also to improve their social and emotional development. So this is something that I feel that is very easy for parents to do. When you are, even when you cannot find, you have a very busy day, just before your child goes to sleep, pick up a book and read for your child for 5 to 10 minutes. And what you can do at home as well is to keep a good variety of quality books at home, because you want to immerse your children in books. So even when you cannot read to them, they are free to explore the books that they see around them at home. They will be inspired to, if they see something interesting on the cover, they may be inspired to just pick up the book and read. You can see behind me, I have like a bookshelf. I have a really big bookshelf over here where I have lots of books. But I also know that for many parents, you might have some space constraint and you cannot have huge bookshelves, you cannot have a huge collection of books, and that's really okay. You can also go for smaller versions. You can have book baskets, or you can have a smaller bookshelves. And instead of buying books, and have like a lot of books at home, you can just go to our local library and borrow books, and you can refresh your collection of books every 2 weeks, or every month. And so the more important thing is to always have quality books readily available at home. And I want to show you. So a bookshelf is an option, and also I have here a basket. So I grabbed this from my children's bedroom. So in my house, we have this bookshelf, but I also have books at a few other areas in my home. So right beside our sofa, I have a basket like this with books. Right beside my children's bed, I also have a basket like this. So this is from my children's bedroom. So any place that I feel that is comfortable for my children to just sit down and enjoy reading, I'll put a book basket right beside it. So when they are just sitting on the sofa, or they are resting on their bed, and they have nothing to do, then they will just look through the book basket, and then pick up something interesting to read. So this doesn't take up a lot of space. You can see it doesn't take up a lot of space. And I usually put in a variety of books. I have, this is a poetry book. I have magazines and picture books, some picture books, and some early reader books, and some board books for my little ones. So I have 3 kids, and they are 2, 6, and 8 years old. So they are all at different reading. On the reading progression, they are at different stages. So my son is completely competent. My 6-year-old is still learning how to read, and I have a 2-year-old toddler. So in this book basket, I have a variety of books for different ages and for different interests, and I have fiction and non-fiction books as well. So this is how you can display books at home, a variety of quality books at home for your children of different ages. And what I will do is every now and then I will refresh this collection. So every 1-2 weeks, I will take out all the books here. I'll put them back onto the main bookshelf, or you can return them back to the library if they are from the library, and then put in new books. And new books always gets children more interested and excited again, and they will want to look through the books in the basket. So this is example of how you can create like a small reading corner to get your children excited and interested in reading. And I want to just share this example why I emphasize, the first tip that I give you is reading with your children. So I was at the library with my son. So he was 6 years old then, and we were walking past a bookshelf, and on the bookshelf was a book about volcanoes. So he saw this book cover with the volcano mountain and the magma spewing out, and then he was looking at that book. He was staring at the book, and he asked me, "Mom, what's that?" And I told him, "Oh, that's a volcano." And the volcano is erupting. It's an erupting volcano, and they are hot stuff, lava is spewing out from the volcano. And my son has never seen a volcano before, and he has never seen a erupting volcano before. So it got him very interested. So we borrowed the book home, and then during bedtime, I started reading the book to him. And we talk about how the lava, the erupting volcano, right, the lava is flowing out from the volcano. And after the eruption, the lava will cool down, and the lava, right, will solidify and become rock. And then my son instantly you should see his eyes really just lit up, and he's like, "Mom, I want to make a machine. I want to make a machine to collect this lava." And I'm like, "Why do you want to collect the lava for?" And he said, "Because the lava turns into rocks. So if I collect the lava, I can use the lava and make rocks. And with the rocks, I can build buildings. I can build a lot of things with it." And I was like, "Okay, then lava is really hot. So your machine has to be really strong to be able to collect the lava, And he was, "Oh, okay." So my 6 years old told me, "Okay, so my machine has to be hot enough for the lava." he is actually talking about the melting point. He was talking about how the machine cannot melt when it's collecting the lava. It needs to be strong, hot enough for the lava. And next day, after he woke up, and then I started talking, I touched talk to him about what he said to me last night, and we explored the idea of melting point. And we went online and searched, for the melting point of different metals. And we searched, the melting point, how hot is lava, what's the temperature of lava, and the melting point of different metals, so that he could choose the metals that could be used in his machine to collect the lava. So, just this book, just one book, he saw the cover, he has never seen a volcano before. And it got him so interested. And we went on to study about the different types of volcano for the entire month. So the books are really amazing, because there are lots of things that children will not be able to see. They are not able to see outer space. They are not, they may not have the chance to see an erupting volcano. They may not be able to see the deep sea, but books really open up world to them and get them very, very interested and excited about, the amazing things that we have around our world. All right, so that's tip number 1, reading to your children daily. Let's move on to tip number 2. Another thing that you can do very easily at home with your children to nurture their love of learning is to learn something together. Learn something together, because we want to show them that learning doesn't stop after we leave school. So we are out of school for a very long time, but learning doesn't stop there. And in fact, learning is an exciting lifelong journey. And every time we meet with something challenging or we have a problem, it's okay. We learn and we try to find solutions. And this is what we want to model for our children. And we also want to emphasize the process of, finding out, thinking of ideas of how to solve the problems, researching, and learning things that we do not know. So we want to emphasize the process over the product. So I want to give you another example here. So one day, my children were very, very, they probably saw on TV, cupcakes. Someone was celebrating birthday, and then there were like frosted cupcakes. And my children was like, "Mom, can we have frosted cupcakes, please?" And I was like, okay, so I have a choice that I could just walk across, the street and just buy cupcakes in 15 minutes. Or why not? We have time. Why not we spend an afternoon to make cupcakes, frosted cupcakes together? All right. So baking is not my talent. It's really not my talent. But since my children asked for it, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to accept your challenge. And I told them, we are going to make cupcakes, frosted cupcakes together. So we went online and researched how to make frosted cupcakes, how to make frosting together. And then we took a walk to the supermarket and we bought all the ingredients. We came back and we started making the frosted cupcakes. And it doesn't matter. All right, so our cupcakes, it turned out okay, but the frosting the cupcake was okay, but the frosting was terrible. So the frosting didn't work, it just melted into this puddle of thing. It didn't stay on my cupcake. So it was really terrible. But, it doesn't matter, because my children, they had so much fun during the researching process, during the making process with me. And then I was there, and they watched me, it was really challenging for me. And they watched me trying to figure out, what to do at each step. And I this is really more important, right, than getting a perfect cupcake. And of course, the children didn't mind that the cupcake wasn't perfect. They still, they had fun, and they loved, the cupcake tasted okay, and they finished the cupcakes. So so this is about learning something together. So if you have you find something that, if you have if your children ask you about something and you do not know, and it's okay, learn something together with them. Go research, go borrow books at the library, go Google, and try to figure the answer out together. So that is for tip number 2. And tip number 3 is to share your interests. What do I mean by that? So I believe a lot of us, we love to do a lot of things before we have children. And when children came along, and things are very hectic and we are very tired, either we stop pursuing our hobbies, or we will secretly be doing them when our children are asleep, right? So, when my kids are asleep, then I'll take out whatever that I want to do. Like I used to like to do scrapbooking, and only my children fall asleep, then I start taking out my scrapbooking things, my scrapbooking materials, and start making, the scrapbook. And that was, so that was a few years back. And then I thought, why am I doing this late at night? And I'm so tired. Like, why am I doing this late at night? Then instead, I decided to do this, the scrapbooking, when my children are awake. When they are just playing, I take out my scrapbooking and I start working on the project. And I can tell you, it took a much longer time. If I were, alone and doing it by myself, I would have completed it really quickly. But because my children were all around and they were like, "Mom, what are you doing?" And then they were sitting and watching, and then, "Can I cut this for you? Can I paste this for you?" So it took a much longer time. But it is very magical when they see me pursuing my hobby and learning, and I'm sharing my interest with them, because it really inspires them later on. So we're talking about home learning time, how you can schedule, block off a little time to do home learning with your children. And studies have shown, actually, there was a study done in Singapore, and where they followed over 1,500 children from over 80 preschools, from kindergarten to primary 1, and they show that just doing some learning activities with your children at home helps a lot in improving their math, their language skills, and also to develop, encourage your children to develop a positive attitude towards learning. And for us, and also a lot of parents who follow Happy Thought Shelf and they do home learning with their children, they have experienced a lot of benefits as well, because when you do home learning becomes, you actually make fun learning a part of your everyday life. Children are used to have this whole idea of learning together every day, and it is a time where parents can support children's interests and help them discover new knowledge about the world, and to stimulate their minds. And this is something I feel that is not easy to do in schools. Granted, a lot of learning happen in school, but there is also some limitation to how learning can what kind of learning can happen in school. Because definitely in school, we are talking about one teacher to 30 to 40 students in a primary school, or even in a preschool, you're talking about one teacher to 10 to 20 students. So there is no way that they can provide a kind of personalized learning, and to help to go into a subject that your child is interested in. So if we are doing home learning, we can look at what my children is interested in. So for example, my daughter wanted to learn about the human body. She was very interested about doctors, nurses, and the human body. And I could just do a team learning a month. We do this during 1 month. We just learn everything about the human body, and we borrow books about doctors and nurses and hospitals to help her explore her interest. And not only, so for when we do home learning, the benefits is not just for children. There are lots of benefits for parents as well, because you get the chance to be actively involved in your children's learning. And when it really comes to the crunch time, when you need to support your children through the more challenging phases, like in primary school or in secondary school, you will feel that you know a lot about your children, and you'll be more confident to support them in their learning in formal education. And also for a lot of very busy parents, I think home learning is a very good way for parents to spend time purposefully and meaningfully with their children. And you can build a strong connection with your children through learning together, and learning about what they are interested in, not what other people tell them to learn. So there are just so many benefits to home learning, and that's why I'm doing everything that I can to help parents do that at home. And one question that I always get is, how do we find time? All of us are so busy. How do we find time for home learning? How do we prepare the activities? And I want to tell you, you don't overthink it. So you don't have to be at school standard. You don't have to think that you are a preschool teacher. And you need to do things like in preschools, you need to have like learning centers, and you have lots of different things set up, and you need to have a classroom at home. You don't overthink it. So home learning can be as easy as sitting down with your children and Googling for answers together. So my son is so interested in trivial facts now, and he's like, Mom, what's the biggest animal in the world? How tall is a giraffe? How big is an elephant? Compared to the size of the bus. So he likes all this trivial, and I do not have all the answers. So what we do is that, okay, son, let's, during our learning time, let's sit down and let's Google for the answers together. Ask your questions and you can type in your answers, and we can explore the answers together. That's something that's very easy that you can do during your home learning time. Or you can read books or magazines, and also there are lots and lots of resources online, ready to use resources that you just download and click and print, and you have things to do with your children. Also, there are many activity books for children as well. I wrote one for siblings, so I have this book that is with lots of activities for children to do at home for siblings. And there are also many books for different topics. So this one is about science activities for children and art activities for children. So, you can easily pick up all these books from the library or from the bookstores. And when you want to find something to do during the home learning time, just pick up the book, flip, open up a page, and then, okay, let's just try an activity. And don't think too much. Okay, so this is my 6 tips for nurturing love of learning in children. And I want to quickly move on to share 3 simple hands-on activities that you can create from things that you can find at home. I just want to show you that home learning is really it doesn't need to be time consuming. It can be very quick and easy. So what you need for the first activity is a piece of cardboard, and you are going to draw 5 ice cream cones down here, and you're going to mark 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so cardboard and ice cream cone. And next, you're going to get bottle caps. So I have already put double-sided tape. To save time, I already put double-sided tape on these bottle caps. And we are going to stick the bottle caps on top of the ice cream cone. So for the ice cream cone with number 1, I'm going to put 1 bottle cap. And for the ice cream cone with 2, number 2, you're going to put 2 bottle caps. So the whole idea is to create like ice cream scoops. So this is the ice cream cone, right? And these are the scoops of ice cream. So you're going to do this. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5. And I also color-coded the bottle caps so that it can be a color matching activity for your children as well. Okay. So you can see it really doesn't take a lot of time. Just bottle caps, cardboard, and stick on some bottle caps like this. And you might be thinking, so what do I do with this activity? So you have just made a counting board. So this is really good for children between 2 to 4 years old who are learning to count. And what they do is, the activity for them is to scoop pom-poms. So for 1, right, they're going to scoop a pom-pom and put it into this bottle cap. And number 2, all right, is pink. So they're going to scoop the pink pom-pom and put it into the 2 bottle caps. So through this activity, it helps them reinforce the ideas of numbers. So numbers are not just symbols. Number actually represent a quantity. So 1 represents 1 pom-pom, and 2 represent 2 pom-poms, and so on. So you can see this is something that is very easy to create with things that you have at home. So this is one activity. The next activity that I want to show you is for the very young, very young children. We are talking about 1.5 years old to 2 years old. Can they do learning activities? They can. You just have to find age-appropriate activities. So I have an example here. This is a tissue box. I love tissue box, and you should really start hoarding some tissue boxes because you can make so many fun activities with tissue boxes. And over here, I pasted a piece of white paper. And what we are going to do is to draw a cute cat or any animal that your children like. So if your children like bear, you can draw a bear. If your children like rabbit, you can draw a rabbit. So I'm going to draw a cat. All right. And next, we're going to take a scissors and poke a hole through the mouth. Okay, so there you go. There you go. So I poke a hole through the mouth, and I'm going to enlarge the hole. And what is your toddler going to do with this box? Again, you can give them pom-poms. And the task is to feed the cat. So they will pick up the pom-poms and try to push the pom-pom into the hole. So you want to make sure that the hole isn't too big as well. So it provides a little challenge, and your toddler has to push, exert some force to push the pom-pom in. And you might be thinking, so what's the benefit of doing this activity? Find motor skills. So important for your children. And they pick up small items like this pom-pom and pushing it into a small hole. It improves their fine motor skills. It strengthens their hand, and this activities like this actually helps to prepare your children for writing in the future because it strengthens their hands. So fine motor, so very cute activity where your children will feed the cat. And if your children are older, like 3 years old, you can still use this activity, but with dice. So you can get your 3-year-old, for example, to roll this dice, and if it shows 2, then they will pick up 2 pom-poms to feed the cat. So this is how you can incorporate counting into this activity. And the third activity that I want to show you is with a kitchen roll. All right, you can make this with a kitchen roll. So you can see I'm making a lot of my activities with trash that you can find at home. And because we do not have a lot of time, I'm just going to show you the ready-made activity. So this, in fact, was done by my son. So he drew a planet here, start here, and then he has numbers all over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 10 is the moon. And over here, let me slide this out. This is a piece of plastic with a rocket ship here. And what you are going to do is to just wrap this strip of plastic over the kitchen roll. And you have this very fun counting game for your children. So they're going to start at this planet, and they're going to find their way to the moon by following the sequence of the number 1 to 10. So they are going to move to number 1 first, and without crashing into all the obstacles. So this is number 1, and then you can move to go to number 2. And you can easily adapt this with other numbers. So if you have older children, you can do 5, 10, 15, 20. So skip counting by 5. Or if you want, you can do alphabets as well. You can write A to Z and get your children to move the rocket from A to Z. Okay, so these are 3 simple activities that you can create at home, and you can find lots of these ideas over at my blog and Instagram. So my point is that you really do not need to spend a lot of time. There are lots of low prep activities idea around. There are lots of ready to use resources around, and to help you with your home learning, if you want to embark on a home learning journey with your children. Okay, so it's 10:48 now. I have finish whatever that I want to share. My six tips to nurture a love of learning in children and my 3 hands-on activities. I am ready to take on some questions from the audience. So if you have any questions about home learning, learning with children, you can put them in a chat box, and I will try to answer them as many as possible. Yeah, so if you have any questions for me, you can put them in the chat box. And I hope all of you found the sharing today helpful. I really want it to be something that parents can do. So everything is easy and low. The ideas are low prep. So, is there any questions from anyone? Or maybe, you can tell me what are the ages of your children. Maybe you can share with me in the chat box. How old are your children? So I have 3 kids, 2 years old, 6 years old, and 8 years old. And I started this home learning with my son. My son is my oldest, when he was around 1.5 years old. So 1.5 years old. So it has been almost more than 6 years that I have been doing this home learning with my children. And when I first started doing this home learning with my son, it was really to kill time, because I was at home. I was working, and because of my son, I quitted and I stayed at home. And then suddenly we have so much time with my son. I have no idea what to do. So I just wanted to kill time. And I went online to search for all these things to do. And I find that it was, I really enjoy it. There's so much benefit to it. Other than killing time, there was, there was a lot of bonding, and I could, do learning. It was so joyful to do learning with my son. And that's how we went on from there. And we have been doing it for over 6 years. Okay. Sharing ideas, sharing some ideas on learning while outdoors. That's something that I'm also very passionate about. About learning. That's definitely, if you definitely, I encourage everyone to bring their children outside, because outside there's so much things that they can learn from nature, and just being outside. Lots of things that you can learn about nature. So that's something that I do with my children as well. Like when we go out and we visit places, and if they they see something interesting, we actually take pictures of them, and then we come home and research about it. So that's how we can connect some things that you see outside, and with connecting it with home learning. Yeah, so definitely bring your children outside as much as possible. Then I have, so Josephine is asking, if you are working full-time and don't have time to prepare anything, is there any advice on how to get started? So like I mentioned just now, you don't have to overthink things. Keep things simple. There are lots of low prep ideas, and there are lots of ready to use resources online. Just go online and search. And how do you search? Search based on your children's interest. So for example, let's say Abby is my daughter. She's 2.5 years old. And she is interested in animals. So you could just search animals activities for toddlers on Pinterest, and you have like you have thousands and millions of results, and you can just choose one that looks interesting and try it. If the activity may fail or it may be successful, it doesn't matter. The point is just, as long as you try it, then the more you try it, the more you understand your children, and then you get better at choosing the correct activities for your children. So search online, find something and try it. And then from Timothy, may I ask if there are times you teach your children how to teach each other? Definitely. So I have my three kids are 8, 6, and 2. So definitely you can see that because of because of me doing all this home learning activities with my children, it definitely also influenced them, and they will sometimes to also assume the teaching role, and they will be teaching their younger siblings. I feel that I don't even need to explicitly tell my older kids, hey, can you teach them this? Can It's a lot of them comes pretty naturally, especially for my daughter, my second girl, 6 years old. She loves creating activities for my toddler, my 2-year-old. So every day she'll come up with some funny activities, and it may not work, but it's so amazing to see her coming up with ideas. So one day she pasted a piece of paper on the wall with circles. She drew circles on the paper, and then she gave my toddler a piece of stickers, sticker sheet, and she told her, your job is to paste the stickers in the circle. So that's a learning activity for her. So so I feel that because of this whole habit of doing learning at home, it kind of comes very naturally for my children now. And Stephanie, our THLC member, yay! So THLC Happy Learners Club is my activity membership where I help parents do home learning with their children. What are the most underrated art materials or recyclables that we can start hoarding? Underrated. I have a few favorites. So definitely you will always find tissue boxes in my drawer. So I have a whole drawer where I keep all this trash. So definitely tissue boxes, bottle caps, kitchen roll, and toilet paper roll. So these 4 items, you will definitely see them in my drawer. And if they run out, I will actually have a little panic attack, and then I will probably even call my mother-in-law, hey, can you keep your boxes, your tissue boxes or your kitchen roll for me, because I need them for next month. So so these 4 items are good to start hoarding. Terence is asking, my baby is 7 months old, any simple activity to engage her? Yes, so for 7-month old, so for babies, the tricky thing is 2 things that you must take note of is that they love to mouth things, so they have no awareness of danger and safety. So they love to mouth things. So whatever that you offer babies under 1 year old or under 1.5 years old, you need to make sure that there's no choking hazard. So that's something that's very, very important for activities for very young children. So do not offer things that may be a choking hazard. And so things must be large enough for them to handle. So for 7-month-old, sensory bags, Ziploc bags, sensory bags. So this is too small. You might need to get a bigger one. You can put water inside. You can put some pom-poms inside, and you seal it. And when your baby is doing tummy time, you can put the sensory bag in front of her and let her slap on it. So this is a very something that's stimulating and interesting for a 7-month-old baby. And I think for a 7-month-old baby, we are also looking. They are probably not able to sit up straight. So most of the activities will require them to be on their tummy. So this is one idea. And you can also offer. You can have a very shallow tray of water and some balls that will float on the water, and then they can play with the balls and the water, but make sure that the water is very, very shallow. You can put lots of things in the sensory bag. Some people, you can put green peas as well. Green peas, when you slap on it, they bounce, and it's really fun for the children to look at. So that's one idea for toddlers. And when she's older, she can sit up straight, there's a lot more things that you can do with babies that can sit up straight. And you can find a lot of the ideas on my blog. If you go to happy.shelf.com, you can find activities for 1 year old. I have like 35 over activities for 1 year old in that blog post. So check out my blog post, Terence. And Chi-san, hi Chi-san. So Chi-san is one of my students from my online course. So the 6 tips, okay, yes, I can repeat them again. Number 1 is to read to your child daily. Then number 2 is to learn something together. Okay, read to your child daily, learn something together. Number 3 is to share your interest. So don't do your hobbies at night, all right? Do it with your children while they are watching, even though it takes a longer time. Tip number 4 is to add objects of interest around the house. Tip number 5 is to schedule downtime for your children to do nothing. And tip number 6 is to block off a little time to do home learning with your children. So these are my 6 tips. Okay, Terence is typing them out. Share interest, yeah. And add objects of interest. Objects of interest like a page from a magazine, or photographs, postcards, just put them around the house. And number 5 is schedule downtime, where your children do nothing. And number 6 is to block off time for home learning. All right. Okay, so it's almost 11, and I hope you found this session helpful. And if you need more ideas and more, if you want to get started and embark on a home learning journey with your children, you can go over to happy.shelf.com blog or my Instagram, happy.shelf, and you can find lots of ideas and you can connect with me over there. So thank you so much. Thank you, NUS Alumni, for having me here. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Fynn, for that insightful sharing. A big thank you to everyone for joining us this morning for Nurturing a Love of Learning at Home, part of Kent Ridge Alumni Family Day, organized by NUS Alumni Relations. If you are keen to stay connected with NUS and fellow alumni, Connect Us is a professional networking platform that enables the NUS community to connect with one another beyond the campus. Meet other students and alumni, share ideas, and acquire insights and opportunities. Please scan the QR code on screen or visit connectus.nus.edu.sg to sign up and join our online community. We will close this meeting in 5 minutes. Take care, keep well and stay healthy.